Hi, welcome to the third tutorial on the new features in Sony Vegas Pro 11. Today we're going to talk about the GPU Assist. This is an exciting feature for Vegas users because, for the first time ever, your video card can improve the playback and editing performance in Vegas Pro. So let's get started. GPU Assist is very easy to enable or disable in Vegas, but before we do that, I want to kind of set up a couple of other parameters and options in Vegas to make sure that that your system is optimized before engaging the GPU. I've got a multi-camera project here. Let me just bring this down to kind of show it a little bit better. So a couple things. First, in the preview window, you want to make sure that the three main options are checked here: simulate device aspect ratio, scale video to fit, and adjust size and quality for optimal playback. You can see where I've got it set to best full here, but I can tell you that in playback, it's probably going to move to preview. Since we're going to let Vegas adjust it, it'll probably go to preview half or maybe preview full. And then let's go to the preview video preferences. Right now, I've got my GPU acceleration is turned off. So if you don't see anything in this drop-down when you click on it, that means you do not have a video card that's capable of doing GPU assist. So with that turned off, that means that you're using only the CPU to play back your video. And we'll run a little bit of that here. And so with just CPU, it takes it a couple of seconds to kind of figure out where it is, but it's getting basically a full 24 frames per second. And this is on 6 tracks of video. So to change and to engage the GPU, let's go back to our video preview preferences screen. Now I've got 2 cards in my system, and they're both, they're not new at all, they're not high powered. They're both in the GeForce 400 series. And the more powerful of the two is the 450, so I'm going to select that. Now, just as an aside, the reason I have 2 video cards is so I can connect 3 monitors. I've got a HD TV and then 2 computer monitors connected to the system. So selecting the 450 and choosing apply, and it tells me we're going to have to restart Vegas for those changes to take effect. And here we are with Vegas backup. And so with the GPU, we're at 24. And then our preview is at preview half. So it's not, in my particular configuration, there's not a whole lot of difference. In some cases, the CPU only might give you better performance. Just because you have a GPU doesn't mean it's going to perform better than what your current CPU does. So you have to kind of weigh one against the other. If you have a lower powered CPU and a higher powered GPU, maybe select GPU. You can expect a better performance from that. But if you have a higher powered CPU and a low or mid-range GPU, which is what I have here in that GT 400 series, we might see a little bit of difference in some things depending on the nature of the media, but it's not a huge difference one way or the other. Now, the other place that the GPU will be valuable to you is in rendering. Now, currently, there's only a couple of templates, a couple of codecs that take advantage of the GPU. But whenever you go into render, kind of resize this here a little bit so you can see it. Any of the templates under the Sony AVC will take advantage of the GPU. So if you were going to render to a Blu-ray, for example, select that, and let's go to Customize Template. And down here under Encode Mode, you can either have Vegas select it automatically, for which one it's going to use, or you can say Render using the CPU only, Render using GPU if available. I recommend leaving it set on automatic, and Vegas will adjust accordingly. A couple of things to keep in mind here. You want to optimize the preview settings by selecting the 3 main options here. You want to optimize your project settings, and the way you get to that is clicking on project video properties. You want to match the settings of your project properties to the actual media that you're using in the project. The easiest way to do that is to select Match Media Settings and then browse to a piece of media that's in your project. I happen to have that right here. So this clip is part of our project. When you open that up, it populates all the fields for you that's related to the media, where the settings or the match what's in the media. Because by default, Vegas will come up with a standard definition DV project. And most of us are running some type of high definition. So you want to make sure that your project properties match the media that you're using in the project. Next thing I would recommend is to, if you are using a GPU on your video card, is to update your video card drivers regularly. And do this from the chipset manufacturer. You can do this either from NVIDIA or AMD. And by the way, AMD and ATI are the same thing. AMD bought ATI several years ago, so you'll see some video cards branded ATI and you'll see some branded AMD. Now, new drivers for video cards are available pretty much, in many cases, every month or every other month. It's the most frequently updated piece of hardware I've ever seen. Video cards, throughout their lifetime, will continue to update their drivers. When you update the video card driver, you want to do so through the chipset manufacturer, either NVIDIA or AMD. I do not recommend going through Dell or whoever, or IBM or Toshiba or whoever you bought your laptop or PC from. You want to go to who made the chipset on the card, either AMD or NVIDIA. Now, there's many other things to look for in discerning your video cards, so check the Sony Vegas website for a list of supported cards and requirements for GPU. When I'm shopping for a card, I typically will use a site like newegg.com to search and compare. They have some great search tools to comparison shop and kind of get an idea of what you're going to spend. But then as often as possible, I try to shop locally at either a Micro Center or Fry's or something like that, where I can get service and exchanges if I need to. Well, folks, that wraps up our tutorial for today. I want to thank you very much for joining me. We've got several more of these to come for Vegas Pro, and so be on the lookout for your emails from Streaming Media Producer, and I will see you next time.